Yo, what's up, beautiful world? Right here to tell you guys, to show you guys some newer thoughts, newer inventions, newer techniques, newer ways on how to use organize, uh, organize scalar devices, torsion field devices, hyperbolic vortex energy technologies, whatever you want to call it, basically. There's so many names for it, whatever, just want to call it hyper, new ways on how to use your hyperbolic vortex technology devices, basically. Here's something that I discovered today for people who think they can't afford, can't buy, or don't have the resources, or don't know how to have the knowledge to make these scalar devices, or how to make any of these organ devices, how to make any of this organite, or how to make anything like this for themselves, but do want some of this stuff and want to experience it and want to, heal themselves and heal the environment, heal and bust the chemtrails and all that shit. Those people who want to try that stuff, and those people who want to do that stuff, and those people who need to do that stuff, there is an easy way to do it. There's a hard way to do this stuff. There's an easy way to do this stuff. There's a simple way to make these. There's a complex way to make them. There's a poor man's way to make them. Man has always made these devices over time with the advancement technologies or without. They're always capable to do so. Then that's what I'm here to show you. I make more of a poor man's version of Organite, where I try to show people that you can actually make this stuff by easy, accessible things that are already around you and that you already have, and how to put them together in a fashion and order that where you design your devices accordingly, and they work, and they don't need to look fancy or pretty. And that's the problem with Organite today in the world is people like I bought a piece of Organite one time, and the shit didn't even have metals, plates in it. It had glitter. Like, what kind of shit is that? You know what I mean? So, anyways, I don't want to make this too long and go over a lot of things. So basically, what I found out today was kind of a breakthrough. You can actually get magnetic strips. Of course, the stronger the magnet, the better. These are pretty weak. They never really stick to shit. Don't really work. But then again, it's still a magnet. It still works. So that's what I'm here to show you some poor man's Organite and how to make simple little devices that are super powerful, that will really help for people who don't want to buy or don't have the time or don't have the money to make or buy or find or research this kind of stuff, that want this stuff. You can easily do it yourself. Here's how, and I'll show you the knowledge, and I'll show the knowledge with you. You buy these strips. Here's one way. A new way I just discovered today, just time I thought of and was brilliant. So here we go. You get these strips in Walmart, wherever, buy them. They positive on one side, negative on the other side. Now, you cut it an angle to make your triangle shapes. Alright? What you're left with are triangle shapes. Alright? Then you put them together. So, to form tetrahedron, where you could form an equilateral triangle as well, which will have a square base at the bottom. Either way, doesn't matter. But they still form torsion. This will still form a torsion field, a torsion energy field or vortex, and so will the other equilateral pyramids. Okay, so what you do is you can glue them, tie them, tape them, whatever you need to do to get them to stay together, they stay together. And remember, like I said, there's a positive and then there's a negative side. So what I just learned as well from making these, I was just making them, and what I learned is I was making them all the same way, but you want to make some negative and some positive. So the way you do that is you just, you take this and you make this side completely on the outside of the pyramid, or you make it the other way, where this side would be the outside, and that's your negative. Alright, so moving on. Negative and positive, why it's important to have. And what's best for you. Okay, so positive will heal living organisms, good for living organism energies. That's these. But it's bad for the world around it. So, so the positive is good for living organisms, plants, people, and things like that. But for the ground and for the earth and the crystals and the technology that we use and everything, you're going to want to use the negative to draw in the energy for those things, so this way they get energy as well. So when you do this, these negatives might give people and animals and plants and bugs and living things a headache and might cause us to feel a little sick and stuff like that, but that's okay. It's not a bad thing for that. People think, oh, when these devices hurt my head or these things aren't working because, I'm starting to get sick, well, that might actually be a good thing. It's always good to always give back too. So the key is being balanced in life. That's the key to life, is balance, and the key to everything in this world is balance. So it's good to have negative and positive devices made, because you never know when you might need to use one or the other or both in the same time. You never know when you might need to combine both or what have you. And to be honest, I still am figuring out this knowledge for myself through dowsing and meditation. So I basically I still haven't figured out a lot of this information for myself. Like I said, a lot of this information is forbidden knowledge, and a lot of it was lost, destroyed, and they don't want us to know this kind of stuff. But ancient people in the mind, the information is in the human mind. So I've been just studying really hard, studying all kinds of different topics and whatnot. And sometimes not even topics that involve Orgonite at all. And that's where I find my answers to things. And through meditation and dowsing using pendulums, I basically receive a lot of answers to this knowledge that's forbidden and that's not known. So that's where I'm at. That's why I'm sharing this with you guys, to show you guys and to the world. I want to actually, extend the Orgonite community, extend the people that know this stuff. We need to actually, converse and share the information, our experiences with each other, so we can actually get to the bottom of what's true. So basically, I would, appreciate anyone out there who does douse at all and does work with pendulums to actually douse all the information I say as well and give me a feedback, because, like I said, pendulums, they are accurate. They are 100% accurate, but there's a lot of flaws with using them and working with them, like holding them right, or the way you say things, the way you ask questions, the meaning behind them, or what you meant by them, the words that you use, and all that can actually give you a faulty answer, faulty reasoning. So I do encourage people who do dowsing to also test these theories as well, because I find that they work and they seem plausible to me. But the more people that can douse and find the answers, and if we all get a yeah or a no to these answers, and we have a mass unison of one answer, then that's the answer. But anyway, back to these. Basically, you want negative and positive. Okay, I haven't really worked too much with how, or understanding yet how a positive and negatives together might act. Here's a negative. Here's actually a positive. Wait. Oh, whoa. Anyways, so here's a negative. So here's a positive, and shoot, what were my negative ones? And here's a negative. So here's a negative and here's a positive. So we have a positive one and a negative one. Now I don't really know too well what happens or how they react or what really is good for you when you actually mix positive and negatives together and whatnot. I don't really know too much about that. I've only been working with one types and stacking them, but here's what you can do when you're done making these. And one row can make a group of these. And one of these is as strong as one of these. One little magnet pyramid is actually as strong as a basic copper pyramid. I don't know if you can see that, but right there is one of these, a basic copper pyramid. So this big ass copper pyramid, you can't really tell with this cheap ass camera, But one of these copper pyramids, you know, that little magnet is as strong as this copper pyramid. However, this little copper pyramid isn't as strong as this copper pyramid that contains the upgrades that it has on all the corners. Damn, I could feel it wanting to spin just from me touching it. It's kind of like taking off from me squeezing on the top. Like the energy is trying to make it spin already. But basically it has, crystals on each corner, and it has the upgrade of multi-crystals and silica connected at the top. So basically, this one, the magnetic pyramid, these little tiny magnetic pyramids just alone, just like this, are as strong as the basic copper pyramid with no upgrades. Okay, so now, to make these even stronger, here's what you can do. You can, this is an organite charge plate, but you can actually connect these, integrate them to your pieces of organite. So I have some earth batteries or bioshields, I like to call bioshields, but they're basically like earth batteries. These things right here, these got a plus and a minus as well, minus and a plus, and you can stack. The more you stack, the stronger they get. You can stack them like that, and then you can actually throw your pyramids on top. You can actually just stack the pyramids just by themselves, just like this. And you want to offset them a little bit, you know what I mean? Kind of creates the macabre shape. When you're looking at it from a bird's eye view, it kind of forms the macabre shape. And then the more you stack, no, I should have did it wrong. Oh, it's the flat one. So I'm only worked really stacking only positives and only stacking negatives right now so far, but I'm going to learn more about how to use both in the same time and see what happens, and I'll feedback you guys further when it happens. But here's, there's a bunch of positives together, and you can stack them like this. And the more you stack them like this, the more you can feel how strong they get. They basically want to turn and fix themselves as you get taller and taller. And when you get to the top, they kind of almost fix themselves and turn and shit. But here's basically the basic idea and principle of how to make some super strong ornate simple with hardly any money. And you make it simply, and they work just fine, and they work very good for people who don't have the time, money, or knowledge to make these, what on the internet's trying to claim as these super powerful devices and whatnot, but fancy devices or pretty looking devices. They don't need to be pretty, this is all for function, really. So, if you're making jewelry and stuff like that, that's different, you kind of want it to look cool, but it's not necessary. Okay, so basically you can do this to, amplify their effects. Then you can add them and integrate them to other pieces of organite as well. So you stack this, you stack those, a lot on a charge plate that increases even more. So now the energy is going to this plate, to here, to there, to this one, to that one, instead of just one pyramid on its own. You can also bury these in the ground and leave the tip sticking out, Faraday cage it, and the Earth's probably the best Faraday cage. Blocking it from electromagnetic fields and things like that. You're always going to want to Faraday cage any of your devices you make, because so this way they always stay fresh and they don't degrade, they don't reset, they don't go bad, they don't go stale, they don't break, they don't become faulty, they don't become old, or they don't accumulate and crack or mess up or break or whatever the word is, and to keep them always fresh and always safe from safe and always fresh and working right. You're gonna always want to keep them Faraday cage, and the more you Faraday cage, if you put Faraday cage on the Faraday cage on the Faraday cage, that's even better. and nothing can penetrate that. So the more you do it, the better, obviously, and it's called nesting. So nesting is also the best thing to do, and that's basically what the accumulation chambers for Wilhelm Reich were all about, was basically creating Faraday cages around inorganic and organic and organic material, layers, and nesting and nesting and nesting and nesting, so that the person that's in the center is nested in this accumulation chamber of just energies that just basically revert your genetics and everything you were back to the way you were, like when you were first born. When you first born into the world, your genetics and everything about you were more stable, more, more perfect. Just like sprouts. They say if you eat sprouts, that's the best plants, that's the best time to eat the plant. Well, that's just because the plant degrades over time, just like how people, when we're babies and we're sprouts, our genetics are more perfect, so that's the best time to eat those. And that's why the reptilians and all the draconians, they eat babies and shit, because that's the genetic that they're after. And Aleister Crowley will eat to rape and do foul things and eat particularly white children with blonde hair and blue eyes, and that was written in his Black Law book that Jay-Z and Kanye West quote in some of the lyrics and shit like that. That was something that he wrote, Aleister Crowley, but that's why they do that. That's why that's why that happens. Anyways, I'm getting off track a little bit, but it's good to know this stuff. Basically, okay, so you can integrate them to make them stronger. I find it's best to integrate it with living material, living organisms, because it creates your scalar devices into orgone devices. So if you put these just in the ground, they might just stay as scalar devices. But however, if you plant them into the roots of a plant, or if you put them touching a plant, or in a plant, or on a tree, or on top of grass, or whatever, then they work better. And something about water too. Might be the microbes in there that are also living organisms that also can help, because I'm messing around with putting orgonite into the ground and then planting my plants on top right now, and every time I water it and stuff like that, stuff happens, and I'm trying to figure out the science behind that and changing the weather and controlling the weather. But like I said, I don't know everything. I'm still learning a lot on this, but I have learned a lot, so I'm here to share that mostly. I'm here to share this knowledge with most of you guys. A lot of this knowledge is very difficult to understand and learn, and I'm just lucky enough that I received this information. A lot of this stuff I didn't even read or find online, because all the information online is kind of misscrewed, and people online who make organite, they don't know shit about it. They just make it. They just know. They don't even know if theirs are made correctly or made right. They just know that they make it and it's organite. And the people who do think they know information about it, they're just kind of guessing. Just like me, I'm taking wild guesses here, but at least I doused my information, and I literally, study a lot of this stuff, so when I do find an answer and a realization, it's usually through something else that's not related to this. Like when I'm working with just magnetism, electricity, or just anything, crystals, or making ornaments, or making other things, that just find the answers to these things. And I'm working just at work, making sandwiches and stuff, and I find the answers to these. I'm working my garden, I find the answers to these things. And I pray to a lot to get this information, so I download a lot of it to meditation. So a lot of times when I'm just like walking around and doing stuff, or at work making sandwiches for people and stuff, like I have brilliant ideas. Just like today, I wasn't reading the books or online studying nothing, and boom, I just started making these little magnet pyramids. Like, oh dude, I gotta make magnet pyramids. But that's how you make magnet pyramids. And you can also take organite paint, make organite paint. That's how I made this charge plate. This charge plate was organite paint. It's old now and needs to be redone, remade. But take organite paint. You take organite. Organite is just dust, like basically of inorganic and organic materials, crystals and metals, and together mixed up. And basically, you can add organite to anything, everything. You can add it to paint, and then paint with it. So basically, if you want to make this even stronger, even stronger, so you want to make one pyramid even stronger, this is one way to do it. You can integrate it with other pieces to make them stronger, and you do that just by connecting them. Or if you want to just actually make each individual one stronger, you can actually get organite paint and paint the outside of it, and you can just add a bunch of layers. You can let it dry and add another layer, and the more layers you add, the better, of course. Or you just basically organite paint on top of this, and then you get foil, tinfoil, you know, and then you're going to wrap it around that, and that creates a Faraday cage. So you're going to want to Faraday cage it always, you know, and then you put in the ground and more Faraday cages nested. So basically, you know, and that makes it way stronger. Well, if you're going to do the foil, this is positive, the shiny side's positive, and the dull side's negative. Like I said, for healing for human beings and living organisms, you're going to want to put the shiny side outward and the shiny side inward. So you're going to need two pieces. And you're going to put the shiny side on the inside so that it's the shiny side's touching. So the shiny side is actually touching. Shiny side is actually touching and wrapping around that. And then you're going to want to get another piece on the outside of that that is going to leave the shiny side on the outside. So you're going to have the positive on the outside and the positive touching on the inside as well. So basically, you know, the positive is going to be touching the magnet, and then you can get another sheet, put it on top. So dull to dull, so you put negative to positive. This is the positive on the inside. This is negative. And you want another negative touching this negative. It's going to be revealing the positive on the outside. And if you want to actually heal the dirt and the earth and the crystals and your devices and charge them and stuff like that and put energy to them, you do it the opposite way. You put this actually will help your technology and your electronics and your everything else. So you're going to do it the opposite way with the dull side, and you do this to the negative pyramids, and you do the positive side to the positive pyramids. So that's that. And once you do that, you make super strong, little tiny orgonite devices just out of basic magnets, and that's one way to do it. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. You know, peace and love and light, everyone. And until next time, show you some more stuff.